So I want to tell you about JSX, and I just want you to get comfortable, because right now what we're going to build is a little quick counter so we could have an idea how to play around with JSX. So first thing that we're going to do is we're going to create a function, right? And we're going to create a function and we're going to call this, let's say header, right? Let's say header. Right, and then in here we're going to return HTML. So we're gonna say div, and then we're gonna say class name equals to, let's say like that, let's use this better, class name equals to header, and then here we're gonna do a div, and then we're gonna say something like this, like let's say counter, right? Okay, and inside of it we're gonna put in a h1. Okay, we got a counter there. All right, now let's make this capitalized. I usually like to make my components into capitalized. So we're going to do that function header. So down here, what we're going to do is we're going to say header and then self-close it. As you can see, what that did was it created that element, right? Technically, this right here is a component. So I want you guys to get used to that idea of creating components and just breaking things down into sections. All right, so we're gonna have the header, all right, and we're gonna create another one, which is going to be, let's say content area. Content area. Okay, save that, and as you can see, it basically created the other one, which is the counter area. So for this, we're gonna say here a number. Let's put the number 0. All right, and then now we're actually gonna make this a little bit smaller, h3. Okay, that's fine. And then we're going to create a buttons component. All right, so we're gonna say buttons area. I mean, of course, like I said, you can name this whatever you want, but whenever you're going to place that component somewhere inside your app, all right, you're going to basically name it exactly how it is. So you have this one. So now you say buttons area. You gotta always close the tag, no matter what. You can't leave this like that, because then it'll give you some error. Automatically disconnected because it gave us some errors. You see, cannot handle that. All right, so it gotta have a closing tag, either like this, like a div, and with a div with a closing tag, or you know, a self-closing tag like that. Okay, let's do npm run watch. Okay, refresh this. Okay, cool. So here we're gonna name this button area. Buttons area. This one we're gonna say content area. And I'm doing this just for the hell of it, just because I like to have things organized. All right, so here we're going to create 2 buttons. We're gonna say div class name. And as you can see, we're not using class. I'm saying class name. So in JSX, you can't say class because the keyword class means class. So if I was to go like this, class, automatically it's talking about a JavaScript class. But what we want is a class name, basically just to give a class to this element. All right. So let's do this. Let's say div. All right. Now, another thing that we want to do here is we're gonna say something like this. Oops. I'm gonna say minus. So we're gonna say like that, and then copy this again. Say plus. All right. Cool. So as you can see, we have those elements there. Now what we want to do is we want to style this up. We want to come here on the main. All this stuff it's not needed at all. We could just pretty much delete all of this stuff here. Keep the H1, is fine. So let's say for this, we're gonna say, what is it, buttons area. We're going to make that padding, let's say 20 pixels on top and 15 pixels on each side. All right, let's say content area, we're gonna say text align center. All right, put in the center. Here we're gonna say minus and then plus. We're going to say display inline block. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to come here and say let's make this padding 20 pixels, background black, color white. All right, margin, let's say 10 pixels and 20 pixels. All right, now let's see what else. Let's see for what was that, like a H4, H3, I don't remember. H3, we're gonna say font size, let's say 30 pixels. Okay, we also gonna say text align center. For this, we're gonna say text align center. All right, so right now we got a little counter. Now for this, we're gonna say something like and hover. So whenever we hover on any of these two buttons, we're gonna make the background let's say light blue. Okay, and then let's say cursor, pointer, and then now we good. All right, that's fine. That's a quick little thing, little counter. And let's give this a class name of, let's say, counter root. Usually like to write it like that, like a string. Counter root. Okay, counter root. Now let's say counter root. And then let's take all of this and put inside of it. Now this, we're gonna say margin 0 auto, and then we're gonna say, matter of fact, put this 25 pixels. We're gonna say, what else? We're gonna make this width 500 pixels, and then save that. Okay, there you go. So now this counter is center, and we should be good. All right. Let me see. Let me make sure. Yeah. Everything is good. It's center. That's fine. All right. Let me see if maybe I could just use, I'll say 50% of width. Yeah, that's better. All right. Now, this is just for us to mess around with JSX and get used to the idea of writing HTML inside of JavaScript. Some people hate it, some people love it, but it's very simple, guys. It's like, if you're working in JavaScript, to me personally, I'd rather be working in a JavaScript file than instead of jumping from a template file, which is HTML, and then jump into CSS, and then jump into back to JavaScript. Like, I'd rather just do it, everything here on one single file. All right. Now, like I said, as you can see, these are all components, right? Start getting used to the idea of components and how things work. All right. Just get used to the idea of writing components for all your application, especially when you're working in the front end, because they're very reusable. You know, right now, none of these components I would say are reusable, but let's say if you wanted to create a certain button, a certain type of button, or a certain type of form, like let's say a form that you're gonna use in the front end or in the back end, like you could use the same components over and over again, and you don't have to recode everything. You know, just do it one time and then you should be good. All right, so get used to the idea. All right, and like I said, you know, right here we're using this type of function, but we can also just come here and make it like a arrow function, where we would just go like this, take this, and then put this little arrow here, right? And that will make it into a arrow function. You know, so I'm gonna make all of them into arrow functions, because you know, we in 2017, kids. You should get used to this idea, especially if it's different if you're using like vanilla JavaScript and something like jQuery, and you're not going to compile it through Webpack or anything. But since we already have everything set up for us, then why not use it? Why not use ES6? All right, guys. All right. So now also what we want to do is we want to declare these variables, and we're gonna say const header equals to the function. All right. So we're gonna copy this down. Oops. Paste this here. Paste this here, and we're gonna say is equal to, all right, now this will fix the error that we had. That's why it stopped. Refresh, and everything should be fine. All right, so now you're good. This is how you do arrow functions. Like I said, this is the same thing if we come here and we was to say something like var buttons area equals to function, and then we come here like that. All right, so this is what we have here is right here. All right, I'll see you guys in the next video.